Greetings, Augies worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, here with Ham Radio Answers, episode 162. Today, let's look at a pair of FRS radios from Chinese manufacturer Retevis. Retevis is the same company that makes the Islands HD1 DMR handheld, and they make radios for several different radio services. In this case, these radios are made specifically for the family radio service. The FRS provides 22 license-free channels, limited in some cases to 2 watts and in other cases to a half watt, all in the 462 and 467 megahertz range, which is just above the amateur 70 meter band. The FCC describes the family radio service as a, quote, private, two-way, short-distance voice and data communication service for facilitating family and group activities. The most common use for FRS channels is short-distance, two-way voice communications using small handheld radios that are similar to walkie-talkies, unquote. The FCC goes on to say that, quote, you may operate an FRS radio regardless of your age and for personal or for business use if you are not a representative of a foreign government, unquote. A common use case would be a family gathering in a park. A couple of the kids want to go exploring. Give them a radio and keep one at the picnic table. That way the kids can keep in touch. A use case that hits closer to home is providing communications for a special event, such as a marathon race. Regular ham radio is perfect for communications between aid stations, but for communications within a camp, particularly with race officials, FRS offers an inexpensive, license-free, low-power radio service that works well. I've seen this very use case in action at the Hard Rock 100-mile ultra marathon. That way we can give radios directly to race officials and not worry about having hams shadowing them. Let's look at the Retevis RT45 FRS radio. First, it's fairly well hidden that this is the type of radio you're using. It's not mentioned on the box. It is mentioned in the user's manual in the Features and Specifications section that it provides 22 FRS channels. And back in the section on technical specifications and warnings for the United States, it provides a channel and frequency list, and a note there states that the above are FRS license-free channels. The radios come in pairs. The first thing to do is to insert the AA rechargeable batteries. There are 3 for each radio, and they come with the package. You must remove the belt clip first. This is done by pressing up on the belt clip while simultaneously pulling the lever away from the body. You can do this with your fingernails like this, or perhaps it would be easier to use a smallish flat-bladed screwdriver instead, as shown here. In either event, you are then in a position to open the battery compartment and insert the batteries. The batteries must then be charged. The charging cord inserts into a handy USB socket and is split at the end so that both radios can be charged simultaneously. A nice feature. A USB output wall wart is in the box. Let's look at the radio. On top is the non-removable antenna, a place to plug in an optional speaker mic, and a flashlight. To turn on the flashlight, briefly press the button at the top of the right side, and do likewise to turn the flashlight off. If you hold down the flashlight button for several seconds, the flashlight will send a rather ragged SOS. You can turn that off by pressing the flashlight button. Let's look at the front panel. Press the call button, marked by a musical note, and the radio sends out a ringing tone to other radios listening. Via the menu, you can select from 10 tones. This feature is useful if you want to attract attention to the transmission you are about to send. Note that you merely need to press this button. You don't also need to press the push to talk. The up and down arrows raise and lower the receiver volume. The MON button, after a several second press, will open the squelch and allow you to hear anything on the channel without regard to the CCTSS tone being used. The menu key is used to turn the radio on and off, with a long press needed for each. A short press changes the up and down keys to change the channel up and down. When you get to the right channel, just press the push to talk to select it. You'll note that the radio beeps rather loudly when making changes. As you continue through the menu, there are other options. What we would call CCTSS or tone coding, Retevis calls interference eliminator code. This can be put in individually for each channel. If you choose to use this feature, both the handhelds need to be set to the same code for a given channel. Basically, this acts as a tone squelch. So unless another handheld is transmitting the same code on a channel, the squelch won't open and you won't be bothered by someone else's transmissions. Note that if you set codes up for each channel, be sure to use the monitor button to make sure another pair of transceivers owned by someone else aren't already using the channel. There are other features available through the menu. These include a timeout timer, a keypad lock, and scanning. You can use the pair of radios as a baby monitor. There's also a built-in voice-operated transmit, or VOX, which I don't really recommend using. I've never liked VOX. Note that the radios don't appear to be programmable via computer. The 22-channel lineup is fixed.
So let's listen to the radios. I'm transmitting through the radios, both of them. The sound quality is pretty good. It's all good old-fashioned analog FM, so you don't get that digital sound you get on DMR and other digital voice modes.
Let's talk about FCC type acceptance. You can see the FCC ID inside the battery compartment in a very small typeface. In checking the FCC database online, the first 5 characters, 2AAR8, indicate the company, and the rest are a company-assigned identifying number, in this case, Retevis RT45. Putting these into the FCC database comes up with 2 filings, one for each of the 2 main FRS groups of frequencies. The bottom line is that the radios are in compliance with FCC requirements for FRS radios, and a certificate to that effect has been issued. I want to talk about one aspect of this, and it starts with this chart from the FCC. This lists power limits by channel. Some are 2 watts and some are a half watt. Okay, now let's look at this chart in the RT45 user manual. You see that it claims 1/2 watt for all FRS channels. A half watt is 6 dB down from 2 watts, in other words, a full S unit. But now let's look at this chart from the certification test report. The effective radiated power on the 2 watt channels is 146 milliwatts, not 2000 milliwatts. And the EIRP of the half watt channels, instead of being 500 milliwatts, is 187 milliwatts. In other words, the actual power output is not only less than advertised by 4 dB, on channels 1 through 7 and 15 through 22, it's a full 10 dB down from the legal max of 2 watts. That's not to say these radios are something other than what they say they are. They're family radio service radios that are FCC type accepted and documented as such. They work, and the price is right. Only $40 on Amazon for the pair. If you use the link shown below, you can purchase them at the nominal price, and Amazon will give me a bit of a finder's fee. There is also a discount code from Retevis that you can use, 4LQ2AK44. Bottom line, These are good for internal station communications during special events and also for other outdoor activities. They seem to work fine as designed. I wish they had a bit more power out, but this seems to be what the market wants. In channel news, check out www.dcasler.com/support for ways to make this a viewer-supported channel. Note that one of the funding methods at that website is a link to Patreon. Patreon allows you to become a patron of Ham Radio Answers for a nominal monthly fee, which you can cancel at any time. Thanks to all of you for your comments, suggestions, and support. Augies are great people who make for great ham radio. Until we next meet, 73.